Hi everyone, my name is Gabriele Bruno. I am the BIM Manager and Senior Landscape Architect at Hodge, Urbanism and Landscape. And today I'm going to talk about BIM Landscape Architecture, how the construction system is redefining landscape architecture. So, first thing first, let's define what it means for BIM Landscape Architecture. We basically have to deal with three different main elements: the soft landscape, the hard landscape, and all the elements that interact to each other. So for soft landscape, normally for our BIM project we tend to indicate different data that are used for different type of project. But normally we would have like species, sizes, flooring, bloom period, category, if they are native, semi-native or non-native at all. In Ireland, due to the peculiar weather where basically in one day we can have all the seasons and the alternation between sun and rain, we tend to have colors really bright on the leaves and on the bark of the trees. Now, as a native species, we have quite a limited selection, but really different to each other. We have birch trees, a lot of fruit trees, as apple and pears, hazel, oak, and many more. In this slide, I want to just to show you like a small categorization that we normally have in our project. So we have from the biggest to the smallest feature trees, small trees, medium-sized trees, parkland trees and large shrubs. As you can see, even in this small selection, we have an enormous variety of characteristics. The same applies to the shrub mixes. This is, for example, one of our sensory mix that we used in one of our latest projects for a school. And as you can see, even in this small selection, there are many differences in colors, appearance, especially on the leaves and the flowers. Now, as a hard landscape, I'm pretty sure you know what it means. However, I wanted to show you in these slides some of elements of our landscape that are quite popular in Ireland at the moment. Starting from left to right, we have asphalt in buff color and with red shapings. Now, the buff color is used mostly for shared spaces, so pedestrian with car, and the one with red shaping is used for intersection, basically. Then we have concrete flags with granite finish. It's really used for plaza, and especially for construction is extremely effective because it's easy to apply and is cost effective. Now, if the project allows us, we obviously would have like natural stones as granite sets. In Ireland there is a big production of granites. If we cannot dig in, we tend to use like no-dig pavement, obviously, which in this case is like timber boardwalk. Obviously we would have reinforced grass for parking and a lot of concrete. Now the last picture that you can see on the bottom right has been taken on one of our latest projects where it's extremely effective because we imprinted the leaves on the concrete and it is really nice. It was for a school project, so it was really nice for kids to see that, and it's extremely cost effective. Again, other art landscape elements are seedings and seeding planters. In Ireland we have an enormous variety of this. You might see in different scenarios and projects, like we have circular, we have straight, we have in timber, in stainless steel, we have so many different materials. Again, in this last slide we have other elements like bike stands. Normally you can find in every project, like beams, play equipment that can be natural play equipment, which is more like a Robinia wood, or more traditional with stainless steel. Now in the last two pictures I wanted just to focus your attention on two really nice elements that you tend to find in Irish project, which is this type of boulder that reminds a pencil. It's really nice and is effective because the driver unconsciously understands that it's passing close to a school. That's why they are shaped as a pencil. I found them really nice. And the pedestrian crossing signal. Now, Dublin introduced them probably 2 or 3 months ago, and I think it is one of the first European cities to have introduced this type of crossing signal. Basically, they are granite sets with the lines sitting in, and obviously showing the green light when the pedestrian should pass, and red light when it's not. It's extremely effective, especially for the distracted pedestrian crossing. Now, in relation to landscape interaction for a BIM project, we have different family. However, for this short presentation, I just brought one of the main family that we normally use, which is a tree family. Now, obviously, beside the data that I already said, especially for designing construction, we tend to use like a limited amount of data. In this case, we are indicating just the root zone, which is extremely important for dealing with interaction within the project itself. The same type of family can be applied for existing trees when you have to make a survey, with the difference that you're not going to have the root ball, but you will have the RPA, which is the root protection area, which is the green light that you're seeing there. And obviously the data will slightly change according to what we are having. Now, this is an example where this family has been extremely effective, because the ratio between soft landscape and hard landscape was in favor with soft landscape, so we tend to use this. Now, when we tend to have more hard landscape than soft, we tend to make our families more complex. In this case, for instance, we indicated a few of the elements that we didn't need for this project, which is like the aeration system and the anchor ball that we needed to put the tree in the concrete. Again, this is another project where this family has been used and it was extremely effective. As you can see, we tend to have more hard landscape than soft landscape, so that's why it was extremely useful, especially for construction. Moving on, I would like to define what makes like a BIM landscape project effective and compelling with what we are trying to achieve. In the first place, we have obviously the digital twin technology with 3D and data translation of our project. Then we have, for me at least, it's fundamental to have a cloud-based BIM project. Basically, you have one project that everybody is working on at the same time. This gives you real-time access to the project for coordination, class detection. It's extremely effective. And then 4D and 5D, which I'm pretty sure you know what it is, just to summarize, is time dimension of the model, and obviously cost and data of the project itself that you can extract directly from your Revit model. Now I would like to talk about a few technology that I found interesting. All of them apply to the BIM world. The first one is the smart IoT sensor. The second one is the drone analysis. And the third one is the modular construction. So start with the smart IoT sensor. Basically, these are it's not a new technology. However, these are sensors that can be extremely useful, especially for construction project. They collect data. So it's extremely effective for the pre-construction phase, during the construction phase, and post-construction phase, especially for having the 4D and 5D elements. This facilitates the management from the beginning of the project. As a future application, I can see that apply to many more projects compared to what we have now, because it's extremely effective. Just to give you an example, why I said this is not a new technology, in 2014 Singapore decided to apply this technology to the city to collect data. Basically every type of information was passing through this sensor, and it helped them especially dealing with urban planning. So the urban planning would be more sustainable thanks to this data that they were collected. So they were able to reorganize or even planning better areas that probably were abandoned or they didn't have a proper scope. Moving on, the second technology that I wanted to talk is the drone analysis, which I obviously apply to the BIM world, but is something that I'm dealing quite often in our production. This is a drone photo from one of our latest projects. We decided to go with that because the site was really difficult to connect. The scope of the project was to reconnect the new residential area with the existing green link, as you can see there. So we decided to do drone analysis and apply a photogrammetry 3D, which is the result on the bottom left corner. And we were able to understand, obviously, the identity of the site itself. So we collect this data, we import it in our Revit model, and this is the after. So we had the before, and this is the after. As you can see, it's a simple project. I just wanted to show you technology that we applied on. Moving on, this is the before, obviously is another perspective, and this is the after. Now, the third and the final technology that I wanted to talk about is the modular construction. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, however, it's extremely interesting if we think about modular construction applied to the BIM world. And this is one of the best examples that I could find. This is like one of the latest Marriott Hotel in New York, Manhattan, that has been designed and constructed directly in Revit. The physical construction, it happened in Poland, and then everything was shipped in US, where it was built with a crane as Lego pieces, stacking one on top of each other. Now, this is extremely effective, especially for construction, because you don't need a skilled labor or equipment. You can simplify the quality control because every error can be already clashed or coordinated in the pre-construction phase. So basically there is a limited margin of error, and this obviously is going to affect on the cost that you're going to have. So again, the 4D and 5D is really effective on that aspect. However, all this technology that we have today, in my opinion, are bringing us to a standardization of our industry. You can see from left to right, I selected different images. In the first part on the left, I have like a selection of a residential building that we needed to deal with in our project as well. And as you can, they are from Dublin. In the center, I took like a picture of a residential unit in Amsterdam, and then another one on the right in Copenhagen. As you can see, the aspect is the same, the ratio is the same, the material are the same. They seems to be in the same place. However, when I think about Dublin, like these are the buildings that like come to my mind. These are photos that I've taken just around the city, and these are basically all Victorian homes from the 1800s. As you can see, they are all for the same period, but all of them are pretty much different. Like the attention to detail, like is totally different. The ratio between soft landscape and hard landscape is different. You can see the use of the brick, the use of the steel for the fences, totally different. Again, this is another example of a residential. In this case, we have a townhouse with like a shop, a pub, in this case at the bottom. However, it's common in Dublin to find, especially from that period. This is 1885, but again, it's pretty similar to the previous one. So like your shop at the basement, shop, a pub, and like a residential on the top floors. As you can see, even here, that they are all residential and they are all different. Like again, the soft landscape is totally different. The use of the material is different. Together with their balance between them. Not just residential, but even commercial. I'm pretty sure you've seen this building if you came to Dublin. From left to right we have the George Arcade that has been restored, but as you can see, this is an example of a Victorian Gothic building, and in the middle we have a Dublin Market that has been approved by Dublin City Council to get restored just a couple of weeks ago. And then on the right we have the Richmond, which is like a school center. As you can see, they are all different. The attention of detail is amazing. You can see even in the market the representation of the flowers and the coordination between the plants, again, with the building itself. The same standardization is happening in other industry. In this slide you can see an easy example that I found stunning and not difficult to notice. From left you can see two images of two cars that represent like the industry of automobile. The Fiat 500 from the 60s and the Alfa Romeo GT Junior from the 70s, which are two symbols of that industry. On the center and the right you have basically the same car, produced by different brands. As you can see, the ratio is the same, even some of the elements are the same, like for instance the mirror, that they didn't even bother to change the mirror in this project. Again, so essentially we have cars with a soul, and on the other one cars from different brands, but they look exactly the same. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say, there are a lot of factors that brought us to have the before, something with identity, to something more standard in the modern times. These factors are obviously due to resources that like changed over the years. The urban planning needs a rule and regulation that we keep evolving every year, the technology obviously, and the construction methodologies that changed over the years. However, there are pros and cons to this standardization. Pros, obviously, all the things that we have a modern looking. Simplicity is like the result of that. It's easy to translate in different scenarios, meaning that like this type of construction can be applied in different cities, in Europe mostly, and it's cost and time effective. As a consequence, we will have like identity loss, because all the buildings are going to look the same. The material and planting sourcing will be a problem, because we will tend to use the same material and the same planting, especially for landscape project, and we will have like a standardization of uniformity. So an easy solution, but we can have a chat if you want to know more. Feel free to contact me. However, like an easy solution could be to use the technology like to help us without compromising too much the identity or the soul of that specific place that we are working on. Respecting the history, the nature, and the different pre-existing conditions that were there before we came doing our project. Again, I have just 20 minutes, so thank you for your attention. If you want to know more, if you want to discuss more, feel free to contact me directly. Thanks again. Bye.